Morning everybody, how are you doing? Well, the sun's just about breaking out here and yesterday was an absolutely stunning day, so I think the spring is sort of starting to move nearer to the summer. Some of us feel like there's not been a spring at all. The last month has been really cold and really wet, but thankfully there's been a bit of sun and most things in the garden are growing. I've got friends and some of the group here who've told me about things like tomatoes just being stunted and not growing much, but I think we've been a bit lucky in terms of getting the right conditions at the right time. So today I'm going to wander through the garden and show you what's growing and some nice surprises, including the first sweet pea flowering, which is fantastic. Puts a smile on my face every time, every year. Also, in case you don't get to the end of this video, remember that the week of June the 7th is Learning at Work Week, and I really recommend you get involved. And the theme this time is Be Curious. So, you know, what better place to be curious than the garden? So please watch along and I'll be back at the end. Let's start with the kale. This is for breakfast this morning, and you can see it's really busy in here now, so the next job is to keep taking this for breakfast and thin it out naturally. We probably should have done a little bit more of that earlier, but it's really hard to say no to that. The greenhouse is looking good, plenty of green in here, and it's about time to start planting some stuff out. Now the sun's here and we've got a long weekend on the way, and a little bit half term for one of us, we can get out and do a bit more planting. So on the table we've brought a few examples of what's coming out. So this is our pride and joy tomato, the Pacino, which as you can see is 450 millimeters tall, which is a good height. It doesn't get quite double that when it gets in the ground, it gets about the same again. So job with this is to keep checking in between for side shoots and pull those out, because that takes the energy away. And then also we'll take the top out, not today, but soon, so it doesn't get any taller, but it gets bushier. Next to that, Sam, we've got your marigolds here. I put them in one little pot, so they're looking really nice and they're going to go out the front. We've got our cosmos, which is now looking really healthy. It's time to get in the grass in the garden. One of our chili plants, red cherry hot, which is looking again very healthy. This will stay in the greenhouse, but we need to pot it on, and I get asked sometimes, how do you know when to pot things on? Well, generally before that point. So the roots coming through the bottom, which means potentially we might lose those. So you want to just be checking the bottom of the pot all the time. If you see the first signs of a root coming through, move it on. The same goes for the sunflower. Not quite as bad, that's probably about the right amount. So the sunflower needs to go out as well. And then these are the dahlias that we did alongside Monty. And again, ours are looking really healthy. I'm really happy with these. And we'll put some in the garden. We may we'll put a couple in pots, smooth them around the garden. So that's looking really nice. Now, elsewhere in the garden, we've got our cucumbers flowering. Not huge yet, but they're flowering there, which is good. And then the nigella and the California poppy and the helenium and the borage and the honeysuckle down here are all coming really, really well. We've got the foxgloves thinking about coming, and you can see behind, I'll step away a little bit, there's our first sweet pea flower. Always a highlight for me, and there'll be many, many more of those. Just need to keep an eye on that, and then as it starts to show that it's producing a pod, nip it off and pop it into a vase. Lovely as well here, the snapdragon has flowered, beautiful pink flowers, which goes nicely against sweet pea over here. Less so probably against the marigold, which is bright orange, but still plenty of lovely colour in the garden here. And then moving along, got the pansies and the petunia as well. And then you can see here the foxgloves, not quite out yet, but that'd be great. And they're great for bees and insects, because they can get inside them. So yeah, if you're going to grow certain plants, foxgloves take a year to come. The first year they don't flower, but this is our good year for foxgloves, hopefully. And hopefully the hollyhocks next to them as well. And here is a good old friend, the gardener's best friend, the ladybird. These eat all the aphids and make sure that we don't have to worry about plants getting nibbled away. So if you see any ladybirds, don't move them on. say hello and say thank you. That doesn't sound a little bit too weird. Okay, moving up the garden. We need to cut this back. The rosemary now is just getting so wide that it's starting to impinge on the bay and on the mulberry as well. So we're going to cut that back a little bit this weekend. Also, we don't want it to damage the jostaberry, which, as you can see, is fruiting really, really nicely now. As is the cherry. And the strawberries are starting to take shape. You can just see in here now the first signs of a strawberry. Up the back, this is all going to move this weekend, but to show you, we've got the overwintered broad beans, so we're not quite ready to eat those yet, but they're not be far off, and our figs are coming through good as well. And then back down the garden, down this side. So the apple tree, looking really, really healthy, bushing out quite a bit. Of a hollyhock here, very popular with the snails, this one, so it may not make it, but we'll see. And we've got our netted berries from last time, so the black currants and the red currants. No sign of colour yet in those, so they're just not being bothered by the birds yet, but they will be as soon as colour starts showing. And these will really, really pick up. Now the sun's coming out, they're going to be fantastic. Got this little geum, which I bought last year on its last legs, and managed to salvage it, and now it's coming up with these beautiful orange flowers, which again are nice with the red gooseberries in the background. They're still quite green, but at some point they are going to start showing some colour. Then we've got our fuchsia and our London Pride and our Elysium, which is a nice little grouping. And then back round, as always, finishing at the end now with the quince, which is all flowering now. And it would be great if we get some fruit on it for crumbles, but also sort of Persian dishes as well. And then in the end here, the ferns, which are looking really healthy and still unfurling. Well, that's all for this week. Thank you everybody for watching and for commenting and for sharing your videos and your photos. There'll be more next time, and hopefully our garden will have had its work done on it. It's still delayed by another 2 weeks. Surprise, surprise. So enjoy your long weekend if you get a bank holiday where you're watching this, and hopefully if you've got a little bit more time than that, enjoy your half term as well. It's a well-deserved break, and you'll come back to the other side better for it. So rest up, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye for now.